Welcome back. Child actor Cameron Boyce, known for his role on Disney's Jessie, died in his sleep after suffering a seizure. A spokesperson says Boyce died as a result of his ongoing medical condition, which we later learned was epilepsy. And joining me now to talk a little bit about this is Children's Healthcare of Atlanta's newest chief of pediatric neurology, Dr. Satya Gadella. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about this, because it's an issue that we say stigma. There's so many different things that are keeping people from understanding the true meaning behind what happens when a child has epilepsy. And there are different types of seizures as well. So what is epilepsy, just to begin with?
Good morning, Karen. Thank you for having me here. I take this opportunity to educate the people. Because of the stigma, they don't want to talk about the seizures. As long as the humanity or human beings are there, the seizures have been there, but we did not talk about it. Not every seizure becomes epilepsy. So there's 1 in 26 people in the whole world can develop epilepsy at one time of their life. This is the 4th most common neurological disorder, epilepsy. So if we have 2 or more than 2 seizures, we call it as epilepsy. So once you become diagnosed with epilepsy, you start with a medicine. And not everybody would be beneficial, but
especially for kids.
Right. So because the brain is full of network, we talked about the previously anxiety, all those. So brain are full of network. Anything that disrupts that network can cause a seizure. But it's not only seizure. Because it's disrupting the whole network of the brain, your cognitive decline and your school performance, all those will be down. So sooner you treat these seizures is the better.
What does a seizure look like so a parent would know if something's going on with their child?
So that's a great question, because most of us, or most of the lay people, know only one type of seizure, grand mal seizure.
Right.
Grand mal is where your whole body becomes stiff and convulses. There are a lot of other types of seizures where you could be missed, like staring with unresponsiveness. It looks so subtle, the time lapses. Suddenly, child or an adult lose awareness of the surroundings. They may walk into something. It's not a convulsive seizure, so people do not recognize that as a seizure. Okay. So it's important for the families to know, hey, the seizure could be different. If somebody is staring with unresponsiveness, so touch them, not just calling their name, to look for the responsiveness. If they're not responding, that means that's most probably we're dealing with a seizure.
And what do you do if there's something like that?
Most of the times you make sure the person is safe. They're not in the water, they're not near fire, they're not near some machinery objects. The secondary accident should be prevented, could be prevented. So if the seizure usually stops 90 seconds to 2 minutes,
wow, that's
very rarely, it can go into big seizure, what we call status epilepticus, longer than, several minutes to control.
Do kids ever outgrow these seizures or epilepsy?
Most of them do, like 2/3 of the patients. So when we diagnose with the seizure disorder or epilepsy, we start a medicine. So 50% of the patients will get better, and remaining 50% we start the second medicine. With 1 or 2 medicines, people will become seizure-free. 2/3 of the patients will become seizure-free. But there is 1/3 of the patients we call medically intractable epilepsy. It's a difficult to treat epilepsy, or drug-resistant epilepsy. That's the tough group. And that's when people need to be aware there are other options than medicines, not just going down the medicines, because once you fail 2 medicines, the chances for you to grow out of this epilepsy is less than 5%.
What ages are we looking at for when a child is diagnosed?
Anybody could be having a seizure, from 0 to until end.
Wow.
Most common period, under 2 and above 65. So that we have 1% of the population in the world, like 3.4 million people in America has epilepsy, and around 470,000 children with epilepsy. Every day there are new patients with epilepsy coming, but not enough treatment. But the best treatments are out there, but the awareness, having that there are other options for this epilepsy is important.
Dr. Gadella, thank you so much for joining us. Very important information. If you'd like more information about the seizures and epilepsy in kids, visit Children's website at choa.org/epilepsy. epilepsy. Once again, Dr. Goodella, thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen.
Stay with us. As we promised, we have tips on how to motivate your students. We'll be right back.